January 15, 2009 began like any other workday. The city was bustling with the usual morning rush, people hurrying to their destinations, unaware of the extraordinary events that would soon unfold in the skies above. I was in the capable hands of First Officer Jeff Skiles, a seasoned pilot I trusted implicitly. Jeff and I had flown together many times before, and our teamwork was seamless. We had a mutual understanding and respect that made our flight smooth and efficient. We were at the helm of US Airways Flight 1549, an Airbus A320 bound for Charlotte, North Carolina. The aircraft was in excellent condition, and our pre-flight checks had gone off without a hitch. Everything pointed to a routine, uneventful flight. Our departure from New York City's LaGuardia Airport was routine. The takeoff was smooth, and we quickly ascended into the clear morning sky. The familiar hum of the engines was reassuring, a constant reminder of the technology and expertise that kept us aloft. The skies were clear as we climbed to our cruising altitude. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a golden glow over the horizon. Passengers settled into their seats, some reading, others dozing off, all of them trusting us to get them to their destinations safely. Everything changed in an instant. One moment, we were enjoying the tranquility of a routine flight, and the next, we were thrust into a life-or-death situation. The suddenness of the event was jarring, a stark contrast to the calm moments before. At a little over 3,000 feet, a flock of Canada geese filled the windshield. It was a surreal sight, dozens of large birds appearing out of nowhere, their dark silhouettes stark against the bright sky. There was no time to react, no time to avoid the inevitable collision. The deafening thud of multiple bird strikes reverberated through the cockpit. The impact was violent, shaking the entire aircraft. The noise was unlike anything I'd ever heard before, a cacophony of destruction that signaled immediate danger. The smell of jet fuel and burning feathers filled the air. It was a pungent, acrid odor that signaled something was terribly wrong. The cockpit was filled with smoke, and the once reassuring hum of the engines was replaced by an eerie silence. Both engines lost power, plunging us into an unimaginable crisis. The aircraft, once a marvel of modern engineering, was now a powerless glider. We were descending rapidly, and the ground was coming up fast. The gravity of the situation was clear. We were in a race against time. We were losing altitude rapidly, gliding over one of the most densely populated areas on Earth. Below us, the city of New York stretched out, a sprawling metropolis filled with millions of people. The thought of crashing into such a populated area was terrifying. Turning back to LaGuardia, or attempting to reach Teterboro Airport in New Jersey seemed impossible. We were too low, and the distance was too great. Every second counted, and we had to make a decision quickly. The options were limited, and none of them were good. We were facing a terrifying reality. We might have to ditch in the Hudson River. The river, a cold and unforgiving expanse of water, was our only hope. It was a desperate move, but it was the only one that gave us a chance of survival. The stakes were high, and the outcome uncertain, but we had no choice but to try. The weight of 155 souls rested on my shoulders. Each one of them had their own stories, their own lives, and their own loved ones waiting for them. In that moment, I felt the immense responsibility that came with the title of captain. Amidst the deafening silence of our failed engines, my training kicked in. Years of rigorous preparation, countless simulations, and real-life experiences had all led to this critical juncture. The silence was almost surreal, a stark contrast to the usual hum of the engines. There was no time for fear, only decisive action. My mind raced through the emergency protocols, each step ingrained in my memory. I could feel the adrenaline coursing through my veins, sharpening my focus. Every second counted, and every decision had to be precise. I announced to the cabin, "This is the captain, brace for impact." The words were heavy, but they needed to be said. I could hear the collective gasp from the passengers, but there was no room for panic. We had to stay composed. Jeff and I went through our emergency procedures with precision. We had trained for this, and our teamwork was seamless. Every switch, every lever, every command was executed with unwavering determination. We were a well-oiled machine, working in unison to save lives. I focused on finding a safe haven for our crippled aircraft in the icy waters below. The landscape rushed past us, and I scanned for any possible landing sites. The options were limited, and the clock was ticking. The Hudson River, though fraught with risks, became our only option. The Hudson River, though fraught with risks, became our only option. The wide expanse of water offered a glimmer of hope. I could see the Manhattan skyline in the distance, a reminder of the bustling city that lay just beyond. We had to make this work. With a gentle splash, the plane came to rest in the frigid waters. We had landed safely. Evacuation commenced immediately. The cold water began to seep into the cabin, but there was no time to dwell on the discomfort. Our priority was to get everyone out safely. The professionalism of our flight attendants and the calm demeanor of the passengers were truly remarkable. They moved with purpose, helping each other, ensuring that everyone had a life vest and knew the evacuation procedures. In the face of adversity, their courage shone through. The rescue boats approached swiftly, and one by one, we were pulled to safety. The ordeal was over, but the memory of that day would stay with us forever. As I stepped off the plane and onto a rescue ferry, the magnitude of what we had accomplished began to sink in. News crews swarmed the scene, eager to capture every detail of the miracle on the Hudson. The world watched in awe as all 155 passengers and crew members walked away from the submerged aircraft. The outpouring of gratitude and relief was overwhelming. We were hailed as heroes, our actions a testament to the power of training, teamwork, and human resilience. But amidst the celebration, I knew the investigation into what had happened was just beginning. Section 4. The inquiry begins. The National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB, launched a thorough investigation into the events of Flight 1549. Their goal was to determine the cause of the near catastrophe and prevent similar incidents in the future. The black boxes were recovered and their data meticulously analyzed. Initial simulations based on the Airbus A320's Aircraft Communications Addressing and Reporting System, known as ACARS, data suggested that a return to LaGuardia or a diversion to Teterboro might have been possible. This contradicted our on-the-spot assessment of the situation. The question became, did we make the right call by landing in the Hudson? Section 5. Man versus Machine. In the world of aviation, the balance between human intuition and technological precision is constantly tested. This chapter delves into one of the most compelling examples of this ongoing struggle. The NTSB hearings put me in the difficult position of defending my actions. As I sat there, facing the board, I was acutely aware of the weight of my decisions. Every question they asked was a reminder of the lives that had been at stake. I knew in my heart that attempting to reach an airport would have been reckless, potentially leading to a catastrophic crash in a densely populated area. The urban landscape below was a constant reminder of the potential for disaster. The skyscrapers, the crowded streets, all of it could have been the site of unimaginable tragedy. The simulations, I argued, failed to account for the human factors involved. They were cold, calculated, and devoid of the emotional and psychological pressures that we faced in the cockpit. The sterile environment of a simulator could never replicate the urgency and gravity of a real-life emergency. We requested revised simulations that considered the time it took to react to the bird strike, assess the situation, and make life-or-death decisions. These were not just mechanical responses. They were deeply human reactions, influenced by training, experience, and instinct. The revised simulations painted a more accurate picture of the challenges we faced. These new simulations proved that a return to LaGuardia or a diversion to Teterboro was practically impossible. The data was clear. The time and altitude we had simply weren't enough. The margin for error was non-existent, and any attempt to reach an airport would have ended in disaster. The human element, often overlooked in technical analyses, had been the deciding factor. It was a stark reminder that, despite all our technological advancements, the human mind and spirit remain irreplaceable. The decisions made in those critical moments were not just about following protocols. They were about understanding the gravity of the situation and acting with courage and clarity. This experience underscored the importance of human judgment in aviation, a field where the stakes are always high and the margin for error is razor thin. Section 6. Vindication and Honor. After months of scrutiny and rigorous investigation, the NTSB released its final report. Their findings vindicated our decision to land in the Hudson River. The report acknowledged the unprecedented nature of the situation and commended the crew's skill and professionalism. While the report recognized my role in the successful outcome, I emphasized that it was a team effort. The flight attendants, the passengers, the first responders, and air traffic control all played a crucial part in averting a tragedy. The miracle on the Hudson was a testament to human collaboration in the face of extraordinary circumstances. Section 7. A chilling afterthought. In the aftermath of the incident, as I reflected on the events of that day, one chilling thought kept recurring in my mind. What if the bird strike had occurred on a different day? What if it had happened in July, when the Hudson River would be teeming with boat traffic? Jeff, ever the optimist, remarked lightheartedly, "We would have needed a bigger boat." His humor belied the seriousness of the situation. The miracle on the Hudson was a confluence of extraordinary circumstances, a reminder that sometimes, even in the face of disaster, luck plays a role.